15,000 years of labor doing peer reviewing. And unfortunately, there is no recognition for peer review, I mean, formal recognition, and there is not much incentive for all reviewers to do peer review. And interestingly, just 20% of scientists take on most reviews. If there are 100 scientists, just 20 of them take on most of the reviews, and most of these people are from Western countries. Another thing that I want you to pay attention to is the fact that we have seen an increase in the number of papers retracted. For example, in 2023, this paper was published that showed that there has been such a drastic increase in the number of papers being retracted. And among the factors that were mentioned for the increase in the number of retractions was fake papers, peer review fraud, and also signs on undisclosed use of artificial intelligence. So we started to see that signs of undisclosed use of artificial intelligence is becoming a reason for retracting papers. Another issue is the existence of paper mills. You know that there are these entities again which ask for money, and if individuals are ready to pay money to them, they will write academic papers for them and even publish the papers for them as well. And as you see here again, there has been an increase in the number of paper mills. And what is interesting is that, as Weirds cogently argues, previously these fraudulent papers were easily identifiable due to poor grammar, structure, and substance. However, the advent of LLMs, which excel in generating grammatically perfect text with a specific tone, has made these fake papers harder to detect. So these entities are using Gen AI to improve the language, and it has become even more difficult to determine if a paper has been produced by a paper mill or not. And again, there has been a rise of Gen AI in research. As you can see here, um, there has been a turning point in the use of Gen AI in research. Actually, since the release of ChatGPT in November 2022, as you can see here, there has been an increase in the number of papers which have signs of LLM generated content. And one more thing is that surveys, even 2 years ago or 3 years ago, showed that researchers, in this case, postdoctoral fellows, are using generative AI in their research. And the reasons they use Gen AI for would be refining text, code generation, editing, troubleshooting, finding, summarizing the literature, preparing manuscripts, preparing presentation materials, improving experimental protocol, and other. So I've shared all these with you to prepare you for what is coming. That is how Gen AI is probably going to influence all these existing issues, the increase in the number of papers, how Gen AI is going to influence this, the retraction, the peer review problem, the paper mills, the predatory publishing. So our scholarly ecosystem, I can say, was already struggling with these issues, right? But then here comes the release of ChatGPT, and we all see this ChatGPT tool, and later on all other tools that can assist in literature review, synthesizing information, providing language support, offering insight into complex research questions, streamlining data analysis, facilitating hypothesis generation, and doing the peer review, right? And I think that all of us know that the use of Gen AI in research has raised ethical um, issues, controversies like hallucination, issues of authorship, transparency, privacy, etc., right? So my colleagues and I, Dr. Benjamin Locke Morehouse and Dr. Mary Elena Yeo, we were talking about all these issues and we were thinking um, that there should be some guidance on the use of Gen AI in research. We cannot ban it, and all we can do is to try to encourage the right use of Gen AI tools in research. And we wrote a paper, published it in TESOL Quarterly, where we said that if you want to use Gen AI tools in your research, uh, as long as you are going to talk about efficiency, probably you are on the wrong side. If you're saying that I'm going to use Gen AI to be more efficient, and that's the only goal you're focusing on, probably you need to be more careful. But if you change your mindset and you say, I'm going to use Gen AI and see how Gen AI could improve the quality of my work, then probably you are on the right side and on the right track. So if you are using Gen AI to improve the quality of your work, then probably continue doing it. But if you are going to do it just to be more efficient, then probably you need to be more cautious. So we have proposed a framework that we believe could help authors and researchers decide whether they need to use Gen AI or not, and if they want to use Gen AI, whether it's appropriate or not. So in our framework, we draw on a quality framework proposed by Luke Plunsky, where he says that for a study, for a research piece to be quality research, it needs to have transparency, methodological rigor, ethics, and social value. And we thought that we can add human accountability to the framework and change all these four in light of Gen AI and propose a 5-component framework for the use of generative AI in research. So I'll go over the components of our framework. Um, so the first component is transparency. We all know that transparency enables us to assess a study's contribution to practice, theory, and methodology. If a researcher is transparent in describing whatever they did, then I can see how rigorous the study is, how um, probably even replicable the study could be if the methodology is a strong one, right? And also I can assess the contribution to practice and theory. So in order to be transparent, we need to detail our procedures, analyses, and data to enable replication in quantitative research and also ensure trustworthiness in qualitative research. But what does this mean for Gen AI use in research and writing? Well, we argued that we need to be transparent in our substantial, deliberate, and methodological uses of Gen AI. Why have we chosen these words? Because we wanted to distinguish between random daily use of Gen AI for daily questions that we have, than when we use Gen AI to improve or to help the design of our research pieces. So here is a part of our framework that describes transparency. For the sake of time, I'm not going to read the column on the left and just focus on the column on the right. They're more or less the same, the content, but the wording is different in some ways. So we tell the authors that if you want to be transparent in your use of generative AI, and we strongly suggest that, we strongly argue for that, then probably you can think of these can-do questions. For example, can we provide adequate information about Gen AI tools used, like model version prompts, settings used, and date of retrieval? Can we provide detailed description of the methodological uses of Gen AI in our manuscript? Can we cite methodological literature to support our described use? So if I have used Gen AI to analyze this short part of my qualitative data, can I cite other scholars who have argued that it's fine to use Gen AI this way? So if you can tick more of the checklist maybe that we have provided here. Of course, this is not a checklist, but you could tick them. Then probably you should be more happy that I'm probably using Gen AI correctly, because the conventions are still emerging, right? And no one can claim that they know everything. What about methodological rigor? So we also know that methodological rigor is crucial to ensuring the validity and credibility of a study's finding. If your methodology is not a good one, then you cannot claim that your findings are credible, right? But what does it mean for Gen AI use in research and writing? Well, Gen AI tools can potentially increase or decrease a study's methodological rigor. So they could increase the methodological rigor of your studies if they could appropriately be used for designing tools, coding large data sets, secondary codings, or translation. But they could decrease the methodological rigor of your works by increasing bias or by leading to inaccuracies. But what about our framework? So we have said, can we justify the selection and use of particular tools in terms of enhancing aspects of academic rigor based on recognized discipline-specific requirements, empirical explorations, and methodological rigor? Can we explain and demonstrate the way Gen AI handled the tasks in the study? Can we measure to increase the reliability, demonstrate measures to increase reliability and credibility of our research design and analysis? So if you can answer these questions, then probably you're using Gen AI properly. But if you don't, then probably you are not using Gen AI properly. Ethics. Ethics, as you know, is concerned with making sure that your participants consent to participate in your study, you protect data privacy, and you are fully honest and comply with ethical guidelines, right? And AI can actually make it easier for scholars to violate ethical norms. For example, one could use Gen AI tools to fabricate data or to plagiarize ideas, right? Um, that's a very general understanding. But if we want to be more nuanced about ethics in Gen AI use, uh, we could say that, let's say, improving the writing quality is acceptable by a larger number of people as being ethical. Like if I use Gen AI to improve the quality of my writing, that's ethical. But some others would say that no, for example, summarizing a study or composing an abstract is okay, and some others would say it's no, it's not okay. So people differ, scholars differ on what is the ethical or unethical use of Gen AI in research. But what about our framework? We have proposed these can-do questions to kind of like encourage you to reflect on your use by saying, can you declare that the stakeholders were made aware of the use of Gen AI in the study? So if you are collecting data from human participants and later on you plan to use Gen AI tools, in the consent form you distribute among your participants, have you mentioned these? Have you made them aware of these? Um, can we state that what we do is in compliance with ethical guidelines, that of COPE, for example, and institutional and national policies? Like I'm based in PolyU. Can I say that I know the ethical um, regulations or the codes of ethics um, in PolyU about the use of Gen AI in writing? And I think I explained the third one. And the fourth one, um, can I claim that I have used Gen AI in a way that um, there has been a reduction in the bias by kind of like claiming that we know how this thing works to some good extent, and we have tried to reduce the bias, I don't know, by learning how to prompt properly. And another one is societal value. So all of us are probably thinking about how we could add societal value to our research, right? How could our research be of social value? And we are all thinking of impacting or contributing to the public good, right? Um, but how does Gen AI help maybe increase the societal value of our work? Of course, I come from TESOL studies or applied linguistics studies. Um, if you come from other disciplines, you need to think about this as well. How could Gen AI help you add social value to what you are doing? If you think about this, about adding social value to your research by using Gen AI, then probably it's good to use Gen AI. For example, in our field, of course, in your field as well, if you use Gen AI to make your writing reader friendly and share it with groups who are not necessarily researchers and familiar with the academic register, then you have used Gen AI in a way to increase social value. And about our table, can you explain how the use of AI has enabled the study to make a positive impact on practice, policy, or curriculum? Have you used an AI in a way that has led to a positive impact? Can we utilize the tools to make their findings more accessible to diverse readers, as I just gave the example? And the last factor that we added to the framework was human accountability. Decision making has traditionally been a human thing, right? We human beings are the agents and we are the ones who make decisions, let's say in our workplace. But by making decisions, we are also accountable for those decisions, right? But when it comes to Gen AI tools, LLMs, you cannot really hold them accountable. If if I have made a big mistake in my paper and the paper is published and they come to me to explain that the mistake and I say, oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't me, it was Gen AI, that's not acceptable. So I am the one accountable and I should be accountable for whatever I write. And we are arguing that human accountability should be there. If you plan to decide, if you plan to use Gen AI in your research, because actually we noticed that there are some scholars who use Gen AI in their research, and later on, other scholars come and say, this is not a good piece of work, that the writing, the content, whatever, it's not acceptable. And then the authors, the original authors, do not come forward to take responsibility. So they are okay with declaring or being transparent, at least in two cases that I know, but they were not accountable, right? So accountability is very important. It's not just transparency to declare, but also to be accountable for the accuracy of the content of your work. So accountability comes with competence. If you do not have the competence to use Gen AI tools and you just want to be efficient, you go there and you use them, but you don't have the competency, then that's an issue. Because accountability comes with competency. But what about our framework? So we are saying that one need to think about declaring or stating that they are accountable for the study, including errors. Can you claim that? If yes, then probably you used Gen AI properly. If not, then probably not. Can we state that we have the knowledge and skills needed to use Gen AI in our research? This is the competency that I talked about. So our framework is composed of 5 components, and we argued that these 5 components could work as a framework that could encourage authors to think more about their use of Gen AI in research. But of course, this is an initial framework, and we are open to revising it. Maybe today you have some great comments to make it a better framework. And also, we hope that this provides some guidelines on how we could do better. The results of this study are published in TESOL Quarterly. If you're interested, you could go to TESOL Quarterly and download the paper, or you could send an email to me and I could share the paper with you, which is, of course, open access. So I started the talk by going over some of the issues and challenges in the scholarly ecosystem, and then I talked about Gen AI tools. I'm going to make a conclusion right now. So I talked about novice actors like myself, and I also talked about bad actors in academia, right? I think all of us as researchers and as professionals, I can say, need to think about Gen AI and ask ourselves, how can we restrain the bad actors from using Gen AI in bad ways? And also how we could equip novice actors. How could we help our master students, our undergraduate students, or even our PhD students to use Gen AI properly and do not fall into the trap of the bad actors and also behave naively that later on we face issues for our inappropriate use of Gen AI in research. And if we are a researcher who's into publishing, that could be retracting our papers. And this is the references to my work. And thank you very much for listening to this talk. I don't know how much time I spent giving the talk, but I think it was the 30 minutes that I had promised to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hassan. I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Sharon to coordinate the Q&A.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hassan. Thank you so much for that interesting piece. Do we have any questions? Dr. Hassan is available to answer our questions now. We can either type it in the chat or we can unmute ourselves and ask the question. Any
Thank you.
questions, please? Questions?
You can type it in the chat, or you can just open your mic
Yes.
and then ask the question.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
All right. So can I go ahead?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doc, for that insightful talk. Right. And then of course, like you said, AI can has come to stay, and we can only encourage ourselves to use it ethically, like you mentioned. My question, it's coming from one of the points you made about the intention of using AI. You said, I think the right intention should be to improve the quality of our work, and not to, to be an undoing of ourselves if we think the intention is to be more efficient, right? So we should think about improving the quality of our work. Now, I think, I don't know, I think there's a thin line between efficiency and, improving the quality of our work. I would like more clarification on that. And then when we talk about research, we know research can be, research is a multi-stage activity, right? And then, you know, from the aspect of gathering your data to refining the questions, the methodologies. And so, can we say there are certain steps of this activity that could require you using AI to, let's say, be more efficient rather than just improving the quality of the work? So, can we say the steps or the stages of research can also influence the intention of using AI? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Samuel. Actually, this is a very good point. And indeed, when we started writing this paper, we're thinking of offering our framework in a way that is staged. So we're thinking like, what if we could offer a framework that talks about how to use or if to use Gen AI when we are conceptualizing a research, then reviewing the literature, then research questions. So different stages of the research. But at some point, we decided that that would be too complicated and in some ways maybe um, more deterministic or more fixed. And we thought that if we could make it more open, then it would be easier and more dynamic and maybe more open to change. But I totally agree that there is a thin line between the discourse of efficiency and quality, right? The point we were trying to make, and today I was trying to make, is that um, your mindset matters. So let me give you an example. I come to use Gen AI in my work with the mindset of improving the quality of my work, right? And let's say I have my abstract that I need help with. So I enter the abstract into some Gen AI tool. And if I come from the quality mindset, right, I would check each and every output and I make sure that there is no change in content of the abstract that is not true, not verified, whatever. And I would ask for ideas even for improving how to do that. But if I come from the efficiency mindset, which is okay again, but for academics, probably a bit more challenging because when we say efficiency, it's more like in business terms, maybe like these days, if you go on YouTube and you type in Gen AI, there are tens of hundreds of YouTubers saying this is this new tool who could change everything. You don't need to spend days working on a paper, just you can do it in a few hours. So this is the discourse of efficiency. But if I do it back to the example I gave, if I use it just to increase efficiency, I would just type it in to my ChatGPT account saying, improve this abstract, copy paste the result and put it there without really thinking about the quality and checking the content, accountability that I need to take by checking each and everything, and also the ethical issues. So if we are paying more attention to all those issues and we pay more attention to quality, then definitely efficiency comes as well. So we are not saying that we shouldn't use Gen AI if it increases our efficiency, but we are saying that uh, quality should be prioritized. So I hope that responds to your question, but definitely a very good one. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hassan. I hope that's clear, Samuel. Any more questions before we move on to the next?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Dr. Hassan, thank you for the presentation. It was quite it's something we are familiar with actually. So yeah, and I enjoyed every bit of it. Yeah, so I just wanted to, maybe not a question, but a contribution. Another issue with the use of AI is the fact that, when you are mentioning why people don't declare to the use of AI, I think one very issue that I've observed is acceptability. When you come to academia, people who agree to using AI are kind of stigmatized in some sense, right? Maybe they're considered less intelligent, or maybe they're not considered so good. So that's why a lot of researchers don't want to openly declare that they use AI, even when they use it. So a lot of people are using it and they try to hide it. So I come across some posts on people discouraging use of AI in research. I'm like, do these people want to tell me they don't really use AI? And when you just look into this, you see that these people are using it, but to come out openly to say, yes, I use AI to assist my work, it's something a lot of researchers don't want to do, like I said, because there's sort of a stigma attached to it. So we have to talk about acceptability. When we get to the stage where we accept that this thing has come to stay, and we don't tend to, maybe there are biases on researchers using AI in some certain way, not certain in a good way, right? There's just a bias there. So we have to make people, very willing to declare by accepting that people using AI are as good as those who don't use it. So that's that. And when you even look at the academia, for instance, you have mentors, right? Or maybe professors, they want to check their students' their assignments or homework if they've used AI. So there's a lot of Turnitin checking to see if they've used AI. And now students are even afraid to declare that they've used AI because the professor might, fail them because they've used it, or might reject their work. There are a lot of these biases there. But now we have to start talking more of, it is good to use it. Actually, it is very good to use AI if we are doing it correctly. So the emphasis should be to encourage people. Don't be afraid, or don't feel don't feel you are less of a researcher because you use AI. We should encourage students and researchers to embrace it fully. But then we have to make some nuances. This is how to use it in a correct and responsible manner. So that should be the focus, more of the focus of this discourse. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Joyce. That was actually a very nice comment, and you are totally right. Actually, we have published a paper about the emerging AI disclosure patterns in research. So I just shared the link with you here. If you're interested, you can go on and read this again, open access paper we have published. But I totally agree that stigmatizing the use of AI would lead to hiding the use, and we shouldn't go that way. But I personally don't think that everyone is using AI. I think, like, because I have conducted some research on this, and I have interviewed some scholars, some more senior scholars, and the interviews gave me the impression that no, these people are no way using Gen AI because they didn't appear to know how the thing works, right? But I assume a good number of people are using Gen AI, and as you rightly said, we definitely need more education and learning how to use this tool properly and do not fall into the efficiency discourse. I mean, just efficiency discourse. Let's increase the rate of our publication. Let's publish more. Let's be more prolific. If we fall into that trap, I think we have lost the game. But if we are more cautious and we think about quality and real contribution to science, then I think we'll be winner at the end. Thank you very much for sharing your thought.
Thank you so much. We have one final question before we move on to the next speaker, from Oladele Tosin Emmanuel, and he says he would like to know if there's a universal acceptable percentage for AI inputs in research. That's the question.
As far as I know, no. And there are some people who are analyzing papers published and trying to give a percentage of AI use in published research. Like this paper, as I shared one slide on this, that there has been a drastic increase after the release of ChatGPT. But as far as I know, no. I don't know if there are such percentages, but I think it's also not about percentage as well. It's about knowing the tool and being transparent, being competent, accountable, ethical, and think how you could use it to improve your methodological rigor. That's what I think.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hassan. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hassan, for honoring our invitation and for the insightful talk. So we will move over to the next speaker,
Thank you very
Dr.
much.
Kelvin. And to introduce him, I'm going to invite Ms. Islamiyat.
Okay, I would like to share my slide. Or Dr. Sopuchi, do you have access to the slide?
Let me share.
Okay, thank you. Our next speaker for today is Dr. Kelvin Orisaremi. He earned his PhD in Industrial and System Engineering, specializing in operations management from the Hong Kong Polytechnic University in the year 2023. And after completing his doctorate, he joined the department as a postdoctoral fellow, conducting research in production and operations management, applied optimization, sustainability, circular economy, and energy transition. Along his academic career, he founded Alex Bridge, an education-focused startup formerly registered in Hong Kong in November 2025, where he provides structured tutoring, research mentorship, and data-driven academic support services, including Salesforce-based CRM administration for educational platforms. Please, let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Kelvin.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for this invitation. Now I'd like to share my screen. Just let me know if you can. Okay, let me confirm. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, please.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So once again, thank you for this invitation. So I'll keep this very brief. So I'm going to share this based on the experience I had coming up with this initiative last year. So I'll take you through the basic steps needed for registering and doing business in Hong Kong. So it's going to be very brief, but I really want to focus on the do's and the don'ts because this is where a lot of people make mistakes. Then there's a real difference between just starting a business in Hong Kong versus using that same business to extend your ING visa. So I'll keep it brief. I'll give you the fundamentals, the basic steps, and then how can you utilize it for extending your visa in Hong Kong. So I'm going to use my startup as a case study. So initially, when we started this, it's a small, call it SME last November. We call it Skill Bridge, but officially at like 2 months ago, we did some kind of rebranding, so it became Alex Bridge. So I'll take you through the basic steps, the recommended practices, in other words, the do's and the don'ts. So the first thing I really want to ask you is, you ask yourself this question: why Hong Kong? And Hong Kong is regarded as the third financial center in the world. New York come first. We all know, then London, and then Hong Kong. So that's why a lot of Americans even agree to the fact that Hong Kong serves as the New York of the entire Asia. So it's not just China or maybe Southeast Asia. No, Hong Kong plays the same role, just like New York in US. So, but Hong Kong has a very big advantage from my own first-hand experience. We all know the tax system here is really good. Hong Kong boasts the lowest tax system in the world. So this really provides you some kind of competitive edge if you want to start up any business. So there's no VAT. There's no such thing as capital gains tax. Then, of course, we know this from all the years we spent in Hong Kong. It's a free economy, and the rule of business is quite strong. Like all businesses in Hong Kong, whether SME, sole proprietorship, they are backed by law, so nobody can really scam you. So the Hong Kong police is really good. The HKMA, they don't joke with any kind of firm in Hong Kong. Like if you have problems, you just make it known to them, and then they give you all the full protection. Then the third advantage, why you need to consider Hong Kong as a place for starting up this business is that this is still the city, and even my friends in the US, even in the UK, agree. They were like shocked that registering a business takes you just like minimum, or let me just say within 30 minutes to 1 hour. In fact, I got my business, my startup register within 20 minutes. I kept asking them at Inland Revenue Development, Department that's so quick. They say, yeah. So you can actually register a business within 30 minutes. Then during peak periods, let's say from June, during the summer all the way to winter, let's say maximum 1 hour. And then Hong Kong is also perfect for small businesses. Why? Because when you're starting up any business in Hong Kong, if you have a concrete business plan, you stand a chance of attracting potential, let me call them potential partnerships or sponsorships. Okay, so that's a very big advantage. I've had so many stories across the city, even in Central, when I go out with friends, my Western friends, they said the same thing. A lot of the big boys, the business tycoons we found in Hong Kong, they all started their businesses maybe just using one small, tiny apartment, and then they attracted partners, and then they did some kind of like expansion, they scaled beyond Hong Kong to Singapore, to the West. So that's the beauty of doing business in Hong Kong. Then, so the first thing you really want to do if you plan to start up any business is you choose your structure. So there are three main structures here: sole proprietorship, then you also have the partnership and the limited company, and they also need to take into consideration some of the key factors such as the liability, tax, and cost compliances. So for small businesses, if you are bold enough to start anyone, no matter how small, then you need to choose the first structure. Start at the sole proprietor. That's how I started last year. And then when you attract partnerships, I've seen a lot of people who set up fundraising campaigns here in Hong Kong, in Central, Kennedy Town, even in HKU. Yeah, but you really need to come up with something, a very good, convincing business plan, because that's what a lot of people, even the government, is really saying that if your business plan is really good, if it's genuine, authentic, don't like just like the previous speaker said, some people are making a mistakes. When immigration asks you to submit a business plan, some people are using AI tools to write a business plan, which is totally off the table. That's wrong. You need to be real, you need to be realistic, set realistic goals, define your objectives, your connections, your network, because that's what immigration will really watch out for. That is if you plan to use the same business to sponsor or to extend your ING visa in Hong Kong. So now let's talk about the second step. How do you name your business? Of course, you can name using English or Chinese names, but most importantly, your business name shouldn't be misleading, please, and just keep it simple. That's what the Inland Revenue Department made clear to me. They said, look, keep it simple. There's no need for you to choose something complex. So, but then when you're choosing a business name, you need to check the availability. So you use these two websites, either you use the HK Companies Registry or the Startup Registry.hk. Use both options they give you the opportunity to search. Because if a business name is no longer available, the departments, the ROD department will not really proceed with your registration. Then there are some times, even when you choose the name that is available, sometimes if you plan to scale beyond Hong Kong, you can decide to also rebrand. I'll give an example. When I named my business Keybridge in November last year, so a lot of my friends in the US, because I started attracting clients from US, from UK, they said, Kevin, are you aware that there's also what we call the United States Department of Defense Keybridge program? That's more like a military training program. They said, okay, there's no legal issues here, but if we don't want to keep it unique, okay, rename. So that was why I came up with this idea. I had to do a renaming, rebranding as of January this year. And so Skillbridge became Elix Bridge. It's still the same education service providing firm like I explained to the department last year. So this is one thing you really need to know. The name you go with should be unique, but at the same time, just keep it simple, okay? Just keep it simple. Fine, you can use maybe your son name and you can use anagrams of your first, second, or third name. Yeah, fine, but just make it simple. Then this a very crucial step here. How do you register it with IRD? So ideally, this is the recommendation in Hong Kong. All businesses, no matter how small, you need to get registered within 1 month. That is the recommendation. Although there's no penalty for you registering maybe 6 months later, but you will face some queries, okay? They will ask you, why did it take you so long? Because they made it clear that even brick and mortar, whatever job you are doing to earn some form of revenue in Hong Kong, that remember this is the third financial city in the world. So please register your business. There are so many advantages which they shared with me, so many benefits. They said, look, there are merits, but once business is recognized in Hong Kong without registering with IRB. And then how do you register? Of course, you provide this core basic documents, the HK ID, the passport, and then they really want to ask you what's your business address and what's the nature of your business. Now, for the business address, you need to be careful. For sole proprietorships, it's allowed. You can use your residential address as your business address. That's cool. There's no problem. Now, for the big boys, those who really have money or who want to spend money, they can say, oh, no, I want to sound like a professional. I want an office address. Now, this is it. On the average, when I did my research, the average cost for renting an office room or company complex in TST is on the average 7,000 HKD per month. So this is quite high for small businesses. Okay. Now, virtual address, this is the best, and this is the option I would recommend for anybody who wants to start small. We call it virtual address because you're not meant to go there every day. What they do is like they collect government posts on your behalf, government correspondence, you understand? So, but you can schedule office meetings, you can go anytime you want, but it's so affordable. Like I pay $65 per month. So, per year is 780 Hong Kong dollars. So this is how a lot of people started businesses in Hong Kong. So most of the firms, when you go to Central, even some of the top American firms you find there, they have other subsidiaries, okay? They operate in the same way, some of them. They start small, and then they get better, they expand and they connect with maybe mainland China, Singapore, sometimes even Manila in Philippines. So this is how you start. So, but generally, all three categories are allowed in Hong Kong. You can use your own residential address as your business address. That's cool, but that's only allowed for sole proprietorship. For a limited company, you can't do that. For a limited company, you need to get an office address. Now, talking about the business license, you have two options. There is 1 year and there's a 3-year license. So for the 1 year, you pay 2002, which you need to renew, of course, every year. And then for the 3-year license is 5.7. So economically, if you have to compare, the 3-year license is the better deal here. Then the last question they will ask you at IRD is, what's the nature of your business? Is it education? Is it professional? Is it consultancy? I think they gave me like 7 categories. Now there's a rule. It's only allowed one category per license. You can't say you're offering both educational and professional services, for a single license. That's not allowed. If you have many ideas, then you buy multiple licenses. So I guess this is the way they make their own profit. Okay, because I remember when I was registering this startup, I told them, oh, it's both educational and professional. They said, no way. Either you get 2 licenses, one for education, one for professional services, or one from consultancy. So that's how it works. So you need to really be specific, right? So if you say, and I observe something. If your plan is to use this whatever business idea you have in mind to sponsor your own visa, like you want to become your own boss in Hong Kong, because that's the I think that's what really makes it really cool and interesting. A lot of people will tell you, I don't want to depend on my employer for visa sponsorship anymore. I want to become my own boss. Fine. Now, let me tell you how it works. Immigration welcomes education category for business. Why? Because they believe education offers the most direct contribution to HK economy. So if your plan is, because that's what I did last year, so I no longer depend on PolyU or any company for my visa sponsorship anymore. So my ING visa is not tied to my business. So that's how it works in Hong Kong. That's the beauty. Yeah. So immigration made it clear they welcome education category, business category, because they especially if you study in Hong Kong, not just PhD, even masters is allowed. You have a degree in Hong Kong, but you want to set up a business, no matter how small it is. Once you tell them you are going to education sector, you want your business, you are providing educational services, they really welcome it. It's really cool. Like they love it because they see it as a direct contribution to Hong Kong. So for the professional consultancy, that might not really be helpful if you want to use it for extending ING visa. Why? Because the requirements are they are quite high. So for education, the requirements are, I mean, you can easily, I can call those requirements minimum. Okay. So this is one trick you really need to remember. Then talking about the business relation certificate, what are the components? Of course, it comes with the BR number, the business name, and the business address. And there's a rule. It's mandatory that you display this certificate. Maybe you get a scan copy, attach it to any of the walls in your business address, okay? And then, of course, a month to expiration of your license, the ROD will send you a reminder that it's time for you to renew your license. Then the last step here is the BRC is generally required for banking and many payment platforms. So this will take us to how do you now set up a business bank account in Hong Kong? Now, I thought this was child's play when I thought about opening a business bank account. Back then, I realized that there are special criteria you need to meet. Sometimes, even though you have the money, you need to follow protocols. Like nobody cares whether you're in Milan, you just have to follow the protocols. That's Hong Kong for you. So opening a business bank account. Now, as a sole proprietor, this is what I did my own research. It said, fine, you can use your own personal bank account in Hong Kong. Your own personal bank account, maybe the same bank account you'll be using to collect stipend from your university days as a doctoral student or even master student is allowed. But professionally speaking, you need a business bank account. It's not mandatory, but these are some of the key factors. Like these are some of the things immigration will really want to scrutinize in your application. Is this guy really serious? Is he really committed? Like we gave you the option to use a personal bank account as your business account, but as a professional, remember knowing the status of Hong Kong, why don't you just take your time to open a business bank account, make it official? Because sometimes when you really want to attract partnerships, sponsorship, you want to set up a fundraising campaigns in Hong Kong, these are some of the key documents they really want to see. They ask you, where's your business bank account? Where's your business relation certificate? Where's your business address? These guys are very, like, I met a lot of them in some firms in Central Airlines. They ask for everything. So telling somebody as a professional, especially when you have a PhD, that you have a startup, but you're seeing your own personal bank account as business bank account, it doesn't really sound too professional, right? So although there's no immigration, there's nobody will criticize you, but they just see like you still don't know more about business, like you're still naive. So I did my own research, and these are the most popular options for setting up business bank accounts in Hong Kong. You have HSBC, ANSHK, DBS, and of course, virtual. Now, HSBC on the average takes 1 to 2 months. That's not really recommended, except if it's not that urgent, you go with HSBC. ANSHK only allows 1 week, but there's a catch. Except you are a permanent resident. DBS, same day account opening or maximum 2 days, again, for permanent residents. Now, I went for, I had to go for this fourth option, start race, because it's the easiest right now in Hong Kong. They give a room of 72 hours maximum for all applicants, whether you're a permanent resident or not. And the beauty is this: you don't need any minimum balance. You only need to make at least 5 outbound transactions every month that will attract $5. So let's just say operational fee, 25 Hong Kong dollars per month. So as an example, when I opened my business bank account with Startrees, I submitted the application on December 4th. Within 72 hours, exactly noon, December 4th, 2025, it was ready, operational, zero HKD. So I think this is quite popular now in Hong Kong. A lot of people are now going for Startrees because it is virtual and it connects transactions between Hong Kong, Singapore, and even the US right now. There's no minimum balance. Now you see HSBC, ANSHK, and DBS, all these banks, they require minimum balance. So you see, starting a business in Hong Kong, they made it so simple, so easy to make it so convenient that even a layman, a novice, can boast of starting a business. It's not difficult. So imagine Startrees offering you these conditions: no minimum balance, but you have to make at least 5 transactions every month. So when you're opening this business bank account, of course, you need to submit the BR certificate, the address proof, and of course, your business proof. So as taking it back to my example, I adopted PayPal and HK banking channels for my clients. And then lastly, you need to update your business name across all platforms. Okay, so these are just some of the key steps you need to know when you are planning to set up your business bank account. Then the last 3 slides, I only focus on how can you use a startup for high NG visa extension. Believe me, this was the most challenging part last year. I went through I went through like 7 modifications. Like they kept rejecting it. This is why I realized immigration, they don't play with startups. You know, when everybody, you can start any business, but if your plan is to use it for visa extension, you need to be concrete. Okay, you need to provide good evidence. Nobody will listen to it because they know your plan is to extend the ING visa. That means you want to switch employer, because they told me last year, okay, fine, what's your plan? You want to switch your employer from you to your own business. I say, yeah. So really, okay, we want a concrete evidence. Write a business plan. Tell us about your services, your pricing strategy, your target customers, marketing and sales strategy. I had sleepless nights because I kept, writing, paraphrasing, modifications, but it was really interesting. It's part of the learning experience. So I came up with a very concrete plan. So after the 7th modification, they approved it and they gave me a new visa. So that's why they switched my visa from PolyU. So my visa is currently tied to my business now. So making me my own visa boss. So this was the first thing they asked me. You really want to know part of it. I have a sample copy for this business plan. I had to keep it for future use for people who really want to draft their own using mine as a template. So for the services they asked me, I listed 3 services. I said structured academic tutoring, and I said HKPFS mentorship for prospective applicants from Africa, even from Philippines. They were really impressed. That second service really, because immigration, they are really after quality migrants. That's something you should know. So offering to mentor prospective applicants for the HKPFS, that's a really big win for them. They were really impressed because they want to see a real contribution to the Hong Kong economy. Know very well what the HKPFS stands for. They really welcome that strategy. And then the store services I'm offering, this is being handled by certified Salesforce professionals in Nigeria. So I have friends in Nigeria, experts who handle this third service. I'm not satisfied. I'm still learning. I'm still training. So I'm not certified, but I have professionals in Nigeria, in Lagos, in Abuja, who want to do this. So we share the profit, but most of our clients for this third service are from the Western world. Then for the pricing strategy, the first thing they asked me back then, they said, okay, you are talking about structured academic tutoring. What's your rate? That they want a realistic rate and something that will be competitive. So I made it known to them that, okay, I'm going to go with something realistic. It's a new business. Let me just set it for 250 HKD per hour across all levels. So they said then they checked online. What's the minimum rate? They said, okay, 200 is the minimum rate. Setting yours at 250. You see, they check everything. They compare everything with the standard. That's what immigration does. Because they follow protocols like everything to the last letter. And then they asked me, what are your target customers? So now you need to be specific. So I made it known to them, Hong Kong students, global learners, of course, HK, PFS applicants. And then I also talk about the demand drivers. There's an increase in the need for remote learning growth. Then there's a global education trends and stuff. And then they talk about marketing and sales strategy. How am I going to handle the marketing side? I even promised to design a website, which we are currently doing right now, and then using social media apps like LinkedIn or Facebook to do the marketing. And then what are my offers? Promo. And I said discounts. So I made it known. I said, okay, for the structured academic tutoring, I'm going to offer for all new clients free 1 hour lesson. So they really want to see something that is convincing, something realistic. They are not telling you need to come up with something complex. They want something simple, straightforward. And then the operation plan, of course, online, then one-to-one, face-to-face, then how you set up your invoicing, stuff like that. Then, okay, so I talked about business operation plan. Sorry, the first 3 points I already discussed them. So for the business operation plan, this is like a subset of the entire plan. So they're going to ask you, you should state the source of funds. So the first thing I told them, I said, well, personal savings from my doctoral, throughout my doctoral study in Hong Kong, that's my source of funding plus my salary, my stipend from working as a postdoc with PolyU. And I also told them I have access to HSBC bank loans, and I've also made friends, connections in Hong Kong who are willing to set up fundraising campaigns for me. So that settles that question. Then they asked me NPF compliance for local staff. Now, this is something you really need to know. If you're setting up any business in Hong Kong, if you really want to get some support from the government, make sure you hire a local staff. If you don't have the financial means to hire, then just seek partnership. So I have a nutritionist in TST, my fitness coach. She's Hong Kong local. She's a citizen. I just added that to my business plan. I said, oh, this is my fitness coach. She's helping me recruit a part-time tutor. So that's it to see. They really love that. Although it's not mandatory, they won't tell you, but they really want a situation because that's the law in Hong Kong. If you're setting up any business in Hong Kong, try as much as possible to network with the locals. If you can't hire, but just involve somebody, call somebody or partner, any of the locals. They love that. That is really helpful. Okay. And then they ask me, how much? What's your capital injection? You need to state a realistic figure. There's no minimum or maximum here. Immigration will never ask you. So even though you are earning over 100K per month, if you say your capital injection is maybe 20,000, it's okay. Nobody will say, you're earning over 100 and then you're channeling in 20. No. They just want something realistic. Okay. So there's no minimum and there's no maximum here. Take note. Then job creation, this is not mandatory, it's only recommended. You can make that promise, okay? Make that promise, even though you don't fulfill the promise, but like I said, network with the local. Make sure there's an Hong Kong citizen, one Hong Kong citizen who can really, say he or she is contributing, maybe working as your PRO. They just want to see that in your business plan. And then lastly, they really want to ask you, what's your expected turnover? You are meant to give projections. We call them financial projections, like it's on a probability, right? So just at any figure, make it, just generate, let's say at the end of month one, what's your targeted profit? You project 2 years to the future. That's a requirement. Even though you are buying 1 year license, they still make it mandatory that, okay, please make projections for financial plan year 1 and year 2. which you can easily do. You just do some math, just design something. But mind you, it's not mandatory. Because I know of another guy who didn't submit any turnover projections and they still approved it. So the key these are the key facts, like what you really need to know if your plan is to use this for ING visa extension. However, if you're maybe you're already a permanent resident, you don't need a visa extension any longer, right? You can skip all this and just follow the basic steps, go to IRD departments, stuff like that, and then just get everything done. So then for the ING visa extension, these are all the list of all the documents you need in addition to the business plan. You need to submit your BRC, of course, your founder service agreement. That is all about you stating officially when you officially registered the business, okay, and the nature of the license. It's a short paragraph, maybe just one or two paragraphs, very easy. Then, the third document is compulsory, is mandatory. They really want to see your evidence of MPF contributions for the last, maybe they said, in my own case, they said the last 3 months. Yeah. So this is very easy because for those of us who have worked either as postdoc or even, postdoc or research associate with our university here in Hong Kong, you can easily get this from the app. You just go on, you just download the app, EMPF, you download and just submit 3 month statement. They really want to know you've been paying MPF contributions consistently. And then another mandatory document is your tax return. They want to know you've not been evading tax, you've been paying tax. They want to see your latest tax return and evidence of tax payments. Then the last two documents are not mandatory. They only increase your chances, okay? If it's not a new business, they will ask you 6 month statements from the business bank account. But for a new business, it's not mandatory, okay? Just tell them, I just registered the business like a couple of weeks ago, so it's still new and I need to generate funds. It's okay. And of course, the profit and loss account is not mandatory. That's why I stated it, if applicable. So having all these documents with you, and if you write your business plan, if it's concrete, when I mean concrete, it doesn't have to be complex. It has to be realistic. And don't use AI tools, please, because they made it clear to me that they deny some people this opportunity. Why? Because they realized that the business plan was entirely written, using Gen AI. But that's not good. You understand? So they really want to see, they want to hear from you, be real, say things the way they are. Even though you don't have the money, let's say if you're unemployed, but you still want to start a business, just tell them, okay, I only have $10,000 as my capital. They will agree because they made it clear to me. They said there is no minimum or maximum capital required. Why? Because they can even help you get sponsors. Yes. I don't want to mention some names, okay? I've met some guys who started small in Hong Kong, but they were giving loans, and at some point in time, they waived those loans. They asked them, the people who gave them such loans, they asked them, okay, you know what, your business is doing good, don't bother paying back the loan. Although they're already HK permanent residents, but this is the reason why sometimes they tell you the capital is not really important. They want to see your business plan. So your business plan is what really motivates them, inspire them to network. Sometimes we recommend you that, okay, there's this business school in Chinese university. I want to meet this guy. Somebody recommended, give me a recommendation last time that, okay, why don't you connect with somebody who started up like this? And she became one of the big shots in town. They mentioned some of their names. So that's when I realized that, oh, Hong Kong is all about business. To be honest, I think I've come to realize this. It was a bitter truth I realized in the last 6 months to 1 year that everything about Hong Kong, the people who are really running this city are all the business tycoons, finance. That's where the money is. I'm not saying other professions don't really count, but the reality is this: everything about Hong Kong is just finance, just like London and New York. That's it. So the experience I've had so far just made me realize that this is the truth. Yeah. The government is currently encouraging people to start up businesses. That's one truth I discovered. They love to see people start something, no matter how small. Yeah, they don't care whether you're making profits or loss. But at some point in time, if you seek help, they will really give you. But you need to be, like I said, be real, be authentic. Don't fake anything. Don't try to impress anybody. Just say things the way they are. Okay, be transparent. Yeah. So, and if you run into problems, there are still ways they can help you, but that will be from that time. I don't want to say much right now because I'll be forced to start revealing identities of some of my new contacts in town. So they keep it quiet in Hong Kong, unlike in New York or London, where they just show up. But in Hong Kong, believe me, all the business tycoons they keep it low profile. Yeah, that's one I observed. They make their money, they keep it low profile. They don't tell you anything. We all enter the same MTR, the same Uber, but they will never tell you what's happening until you go close. You interact with these guys, and then you realize that Hong Kong is all about business. Yeah. So it's quite interesting because it kind of, the experience taught me so much, and I really appreciated the efforts of the government, through the immigration department, because the first thing they just asked me, they said, "You want to start up something to do with education, right? You want to provide some form of education service." They say, "Oh, we love it." You know, they said you have a PhD. Oh, wow, good. Go ahead. Just tell us what you need. They made it so simple, and they were so happy, and that's why. So automatically, I just switched my visa from follow you to my startup. So currently, my visa now is tied to my business. Yeah. So I think that's all I need to say. That's a summary, and I'm open to questions. You can also chat me one-on-one, also on WhatsApp. But I think this is just a summary of the key points. I don't really want to elaborate more because of the time factor. Yeah, but you're welcome to chat me more. You can ask questions here. I'm also straight, maybe on WhatsApp. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kelvin, for this presentation. If we have any questions, please feel free to ask or type it in the chat box. Okay, Dr. Mistura, do you have a question? Please go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Kelvin. Thank you so much for the sharing. That was very, very interesting, and I really learned a lot. Yeah, so my question is, in the application process to register a business in Hong Kong, do you need to have a functional business, like a business that is already operating? Like, would that be one of the evidence that you would need to submit? Maybe like if I were to start an education business now or a consulting business, do I need to have had clients? Do I need to have, performed transactions? Do I need to submit evidence of those things in order to register for the business?
Yeah, thank you. You don't need that for IRD, you understand? You only need that for immigration. But luckily, for those who don't plan to use it for extending ING visa, you don't need that. They only need the name, okay, and the type of license you really want to go for, either 1 year or 3 year license. So that's the most surprising thing. They just ask you, what's the proposed name of your business? One, then they ask you to select the category, okay? Then they ask you two other questions, but they don't ask you stuff like, do you already have maybe one or two clients? No, it's only immigration we ask such questions. But like I said, you don't even need to go to immigration if you, maybe for instance, if you're already HKPR, you don't need that. It's only maybe students, people are here to secure PR status who plan to use the same business to extend their ING visa. That's when they need to prove to immigration now, during the application that I have maybe one client, I have two, maybe I have one from Nigeria, stuff like that. Because I did the same thing. No, I'm not yet HKPR. So immigration kept asking, they said, oh no, your plan is you want to switch your visa. You want to switch your employer. That, okay, we need to know how much, what they said, what's the current volume of operation? Yeah, so that answers your question. Only immigration asks that. But when you're going to IRD, they don't care. IRD don't care. They only ask you, what's your proposed business name? And is it have you checked online if it's available? Yes or no? They also check too. Yeah, that's one good thing with IRD. They also check online your proposed business name. If it's available, fine, they go ahead and they ask you to select the license 1 or 3 year. And I recommend going for 3 year license. Yes, please just go for 3. Yeah. 3 year is much better and it shows a stronger commitment to do business in Hong Kong because when I submitted my application, immigration asked me, why go for 1 year license? Why don't you go? I said, oh, I made a mistake. They ask some questions just to know your level of commitment. They really want to know, immigration want to know if one is serious or not. But like I said, That's only for visa application, ING extension. So for those who have already secured PR, or those who don't need to switch employer, okay, you don't need to go to immigration. You just handle everything at IRD department, and they get the business registered within 30 minutes. Yeah, they are so efficient.
Right.
These guys are very efficient.
Right, 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 right. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your talk. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you for answering that question. We also have another question here from Mr. Oladele Tosin Emmanuel. He said, Doctor, thank you, Doctor. Are you in a position to facilitate visa sponsorship now?
Yes, but I don't really know. I'm here to fulfill some objectives. Like, I promised immigration that I really want to hire a local part-time tutor for my business, right? So I've not been able because my business partner, who happens to be my fitness coach in TSA, advised me to hold on that she will be the one to help me uh, hire somebody. So before I can go ahead with visa sponsorship, this is the norm in Hong Kong. They require that for any startup, before you sponsor a foreigner, maybe like for instance, maybe I want to sponsor in Nigeria now, let's say, yeah, coming into Hong Kong, maybe a teacher. The law is ideal that is perfectly reasonable, logical that I have already recruited their own local first. Any business in Hong Kong, that's how it works. It's not that they won't reject your application, but they will keep asking many questions. That's the thing with immigration. Why? Because they are yet to see their own local working in your firm. They love that. So to make things easier, until I've recruited a local part-time tutor before I can make that bold move to say, okay, fine, I want to sponsor maybe someone from Nigeria. Yes, and so for now, I'm just operating with certified professionals in Lagos, Abuja, but these are still, in addition, they're still expecting to see somebody like their own local on the business profile. You understand? So, but the only way I've gone around this for now is that when I told them my first business partner in Hong Kong is my fitness coach, they said, "Oh, that's great." You understand? But before I can proceed with the visa sponsorship for, like, for instance, in Nigeria, until I've fulfilled that promise to recruit a local part-time tutor. Yeah. So we are still looking, although the tutor I really want to hire now is for physics and chemistry. Yeah. Because I'm the only one handling mathematics, mathematics across all levels. I handle mathematics across all levels from primary to university, different rates. So, but because of the workload, I can't really handle physics and chemistry. So that's the reason why we need a local part-time tutor to handle either physics or chemistry. That will settle the promise, that will settle the promise I made to immigration. Because they look at this stuff, this one go to immigration. They keep records very well. These guys are very, Hong Kong, they keep records here in Hong Kong, even far better than the Western world. So now, if I want to sponsor any applicant from Nigeria, let's say, for instance, a high school, secondary school teacher in Nigeria, they will look at my previous draft, say, okay, Kevin promised to hire a local part-time tutor. That promise is still unfulfilled. Why should explain to us why we should? It's normal, because what I would like to know is their country is their land, right? So they have every right to say their own staff. So based on the promise you made at an earlier stage, they will use that at all times. So hopefully, my plan is I'll settle the recruitment process very soon, local part-time tutor. So we plan to get a person in, let's say, before August. Yeah, before I renew the license. So hopefully, that as from August, that's when I can now make that bold move to say, yes, I want to sponsor like a friend from Nigeria. So as it is right now, not that it's not like they'll say no, but I'll face so many questions, so many queries. It's a promise. Everything's in writing. So these guys, they are very concrete. Like they check everything word for word. Like, okay, you don't promise and fail. But that's one thing to immigration. They don't. Yeah. So because they believe you already switch your employer. I'm no longer under any employer now. So they see it like, okay, this is a big bonus. So that means if you want to sponsor your own, maybe family friend from Nigeria, that should happen only after they've seen Hong Kong local staff in your company, in your firm. So that's how it works. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we can entertain one more question and then.
Okay.
Do anybody have a question? Okay, in the absence of that, we'll be rounding up the academic forum and moving on to the first quarterly meeting. Okay, so for the first quarterly meeting, the first thing we'll be talking about is the brief report about the activities we've done. And we started the year with the annual BBQ party and the charity events as a way of giving back to the Hong Kong community. We had to go and clean up the Tai Po Long beach, and that was really fun. And the next brief report we have is the meet and greet. Every year, the executives go to the different schools in Hong Kong, and we try to meet up with the new scholars we have in each of these schools, and we try to have a discussion with them and see if there's anything we can do to help or anything they have to tell us. So these are the pictures from the meet and greet we had in different schools in Hong Kong. And for the next part, another brief report we also have a picnic during the Chinese New Year. And we were here I think we had this in the Admiralty Park, and that was really, 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 really fun. And I think that brings us to the end of the brief report. And the next part, we have the planned activities for the coming quarter of the year. And the first thing we have here is the general sports event. It's a bowling event, and this will be coming up next month on the 23rd of May. And we encourage all members to please show up and let's bond and gel using this opportunity. And after the sports events, the next thing we have is the research forum as well as the second quarterly meeting. And this is coming up on the 20th of June. And as we all know, the research forum is talking about different research in different fields. Nigerians from different parts of the world here in Hong Kong, in Nigeria, or any other country, they come in and present their papers or any research they've done. And they present, and we also ask questions related to that in different fields. We also have speakers for that as well. And that is coming up on the 20th of June. And the next one we have is the social event. It's an excursion. And for that, we have chosen the 11th of July, which is a tentative date. And further details about that will be shared in due course. And the next one we have that after the social event, we have the general election and the third quarterly meeting, which is going to be coming up on the 29th of August. And the next one after that, we have the Nigerians Independence Day. As we are all patriotic Nigerians, I'm sure we are going to be celebrating that. And to celebrate that, we usually have a football match with our Ghanaian brothers. And we also believe that our Nigerian players are going to make us proud on that day. And the next one we have on the planned activity after the Independence Day, we have the handing over ceremony and the fourth quarterly meeting, which will be coming up on the 10th of October. And we also encourage our members to please try to attend all these events. We all need your support. And for the research forum coming up in July, we already have a committee, and the chair of the committee is Dr. Godswill Chibu and Mr. Basit Adigun. Mr. Bright Ogbuna, Ms. Margaret Oyewole, and Ms. Semiat Ayen. These are the committees that will be working on the research forum activity. And as we all know, we have a scholarship committee as well. And this scholarship helps Nigerian scholars who wants to apply to Hong Kong universities. It helps them with their academic application fee. We help them to pay the application fee. The scholarship covers the application fee. As we all know, Hong Kong universities require application fee payments. So this scholarship will help them with the application fee. And the committee are going to be the one in charge of that. They're going to make sure the deserved person, the deserved potential scholar gets this scholarship. And the committee, we have Dr. Ifunaya Akaniro as the chair, and we have Mr. Kayode Kazim, Ms. Senami Nunayo, and Ms. Adedoyin Salaudin, and Mr. Samuel Akin. These are the scholarship committee members. And also, I would like to talk about membership engagement, because it's a very important part of our association, and we really value this participation. We need all members to be involved, to be active, to be engaged, to be active, to be involved, to be engaged, share your ideas, to, give observation if you have any observation, if you have any questions, and try to support our activities in everything we do. Your involvement in all this in all these activities is really going to go a long way, and it also it will help make us it will help with making a better decision in all the activities we're going to be doing for the year, and it will also help build a strong community within Hong Kong. And we really, really appreciate if our members can really show up, get involved, get active, and be involved in our activities. And moving forward, I'll be handing over this to the treasurer to give us details about the financial report. Ms. Adedoyin Nosumot, please take over.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming to this seminar, and also for participating actively. So I would like to share the financial report as of today. So from the previous session, we actually received the sum of 17,707 HKD from the previous tenure. And from this current tenure, we were able to gather around 4,200 HKD, which are from the dues that various scholars have actually paid. And I would really want to use this opportunity to thank everyone that has paid their dues. We really, really appreciate you. And from these dues, we spent around 633 for the barbecue event that was held last year. And we also spent around 1,000 for the meet and greet different universities that we had. So our expenses as at this session is around 1,600. So that's the math on the screen. So we still have around 20,000 HKD for the association, and we really would encourage scholars to actually pay. The main fact that some of us are no longer like students or like academia and things like that. We really need your support. We really need your financial assistance to make this association great. So we can also have the opportunity to organize fun events, and we can enjoy our stay in Hong Kong, and we can also collaborate together. But without these funds, there's really much that we can actually do as an association. So here on this screen is also the account number and the that we can actually pay to. And if you have any question or if you need me to send you the account details, you can just send me a hi on WhatsApp. I'll be happy to actually do that. And for some of our members that have actually paid, they've all been receiving the receipts to their payment. So that's what we have right now. And with that being said, I think we have come to before we actually do that, is there any question that we would like to ask about maybe the activities that we've lined up or the dues that we actually need to pay? All right. So in the absence of none, we've actually
Sorry,
come to
I
the
just
end.
wanted to make a comment to the financial secretary. Thanks for the financial statement, but I think there is an ambiguity in the statement.
Okay.
It's always good to put the unit like 1660.55, the HKD. You should let us know that this is in HKD.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you very much.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joyce.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. So we've actually come to the end of today's seminar, but before we actually say our goodbyes, this we were supposed to do before we actually went into the whole thing today. We would like for us to take 1 minute to introduce ourselves and the schools we represent, because from here I can say that we have lots of people that actually joined us, some that we know and some that we are not too familiar with. So it would be nice to just say your name, introduce yourself and the school you're from. I can start with myself. My name is Salaudin Adeduni and I am from Lingnan University. So anyone can introduce themselves.
Okay, I'll be going. My name is Salaudin Islamiyat Adetola, and I am also from Lingnan University.
Okay.
Okay, good.
All right.
All right,
So,
my name is Ghost Chibu, and I'm from PolyU.
Thank you, Dr. Chibu. All right, Dr. Sopruchi, are you still there?
Tosin is raising his hands. I think he wants to.
Mr. Tosin, you
All
have the
right.
floor.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tosin Oladile Emmanuel. I'm an exchange student from South Africa, Durban University of Technology. So I'm briefly here as a PolyU. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Tosin. Dr. Kende.
Yeah, my name is Timothy Kende from Hong Polytechnic University. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're welcome, Dr. Kende.
My name is Sopruchi Abo from PolyU, the president of the association.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sopruchi.
Okay, my name is Sharon Anure, the welfare director.
Thank you, Ms. Sharon.
My name is Emmanuel.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
My name is Emmanuel.
Dr.
Sorry,
Kende, can you stop sharing your screen?
I really can't hear. Okay, is there anyone else that would love to introduce themselves?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mr. Asalaudin. I'm a lecturer at Hong Kong Shuyang University.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mistura. It's good to have you here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Samuel Akin from Hong Kong Metropolitan University.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel. Good to have you here.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ifunaya Joyce Akanira from the University of Hong Kong.
Thank you, Dr. Joyce. It's good to have you.
I agree to now. Bright day here for building PolyU.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bright. Good to hear your voice.
Hello, everyone. I'm
Hello.
Emmanuel Davis from HQUST.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. Good to have you here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Margaret Oyewole from PolyU.
Thank you, Miss Margaret. Good to have you here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Semiat Ayani. I was at HKU.
Thank you, Miss Amiat. It's good to hear your voice. Good to have you here.
If you're still here, can you turn on your video so that we can take a group picture?
Yes.
Thank you. So, Ms. Ade don't even now say the closing remarks, and we'll call it a day.
All right. So we really want to appreciate everyone that have taken their time to actually attend this event. We really want to say a very, very big thank you. And I'm so happy to see like everyone and to see all our faces here. And I would also like to appreciate the speaker of today's event, Dr. Hassan and Dr. Kevin. We've really learned so much from you. Thank you very much for creating the time to grace this occasion and for sharing such insightful ideas. And I also want to appreciate the executive of this association and for actually bringing together everyone and for creating this kind of opportunity where we can actually learn from each other and share from each other's brains. Thank you so much. And it's good to see everyone, good to see all of you. And we hope that we see more of everyone in subsequent events. And thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to stop recording, and the meeting will still be on for the next 5 minutes if you want to stay back and chat.
I actually, before we go, I would like someone to please move a motion to adjourn the meeting, please.
Okay.
Anyone?